If I'm a UK business owner and I'm hearing about Dubai for the first time, what are my options in terms of setting up a company here? And because this was crazy for me, understanding about all the different zones and just a high level.
That's why I have a job. Very much depend on who you're targeting and how you would provide that service.
Yeah.
So again, each and every person is different. It's not easy for me to just say, this is the right solution.
But sometimes you get into your day to day and you don't realize the trap that you're in. You know, if you're invoicing a client in the UK, £120 with VAT, if you're a higher rate taxpayer, once you get all of that money out and into your pocket, you're left with under £40 once you paid VAT, corporation tax, income tax, so on and so forth. Now, do you want to work for £120 to end up with £40? Not really. So if there's a way that you can structure your business to have some or all of it, pay less tax, whether you're moving or whether you're staying in the UK, then it really is right for you as a business owner to start exploring these options.
So first, you speak to me. We obviously run through what is necessary, what needs to be done. Then we'll look at when the person actually needs to be in Dubai or UAE. It might not be Dubai. We also set up in Saudi and the rest of the GCC as well. So
welcome to Founder Stories, the podcast where we dive into real conversations behind entrepreneurship, growth, and bold decisions. I'm Simon Kallu, and in this episode, we're kicking off a brand new series around setting up businesses in Dubai, especially for UK or European founders looking for smarter, more strategic ways to grow. Joining me today is Shelin from Creative Zone, one of the leading business setup firms in the UAE. She's helped hundreds of entrepreneurs make the move. And today we're unpacking the why, how, and what you need to know if you're even remotely considering Dubai. So let's get into it. Welcome to the podcast, Shelin.
Thanks for having me.
First guest on the first episode of our Dubai special. I know we're going to do sort of a series of these because there's so much to talk about. I know I scared you earlier when I said we might talk for 2 hours, but we'll try and keep it
I'm not speaking
tight
for 2 hours. Simon's going to be speaking to himself.
The objective really is just a really high level for people that are interested in Dubai. Really, it's for me. You know, like a year ago, maybe I didn't know what I know now. And if I'd had this kind of resource, it would have been super useful.
Yeah.
So we often go off on a tangent on this show, but I'll try and stick to the question. So I'll ask you a question, you answer it. But if you think there's anything relevant around that topic or around that question, then please do go into it.
I'll try not to bore you guys, soz.
Shelin is definitely not boring. We're going to make this entertaining. So just a quick intro, if you don't mind. I know Founder Stories typically is for business founders, but this is more of an educational episode for founders. You're not the founder of Creative Zone, but tell me what you do. Give me a quick introduction to yourself for those who are watching or listening and don't know you.
Yeah, of course. So I have been in Dubai for 5 years now. I've worked for Creative Zone for 4 of those 5 years. As a business, we do pretty much everything from A to Z, which you know because you've been through the process.
Yeah.
But we will do everything from the beginning stages of helping people get to grips with what it is they actually need, because it is such a different landscape. I think especially for us from the UK, so different. And there's so many things we need to think about. So in terms of my job, I will talk a lot, which is why my voice tends to come and go a lot, because I think I speak far too much. But my job is basically just asking a lot of questions and figuring out what people actually need.
Okay.
Whether that's the basics of just moving out here and having a residency visa, or expanding their business, or starting something completely brand new, restructuring everything, or, you know, asset protection vehicles, whatever it kind of looks like, we can do everything. Golden visas are really, really popular now, which you know as well.
Yeah.
But
I don't know about that actually. So, and that wasn't on my question list. So we'll come to that.
This will be 2.5 hours now. Okay.
But you're the first point of contact, basically. When people see that ad on Instagram or Facebook, or, you know, if they're Googling business setup in Dubai, because you guys have been around for so long, and you are one of, if not the leading provider, they will find you, they'll book a call, and then you might be one of the people that they speak to. You're that first point of contact, right?
Correct.
So presumably you have to have a high level of knowledge across everything.
I mean, look, I can't be an expert in absolutely everything. Yeah. And you know, from speaking to different people within the organization, we don't claim to know everything. You know, I'm one human being, but the beauty of the way we're structured is we've got so many different divisions, so many people that are well educated in different areas. If I don't know, I'll say, right, thank you for the information. I'll go and speak to so-and-so. I'll either get them to reach out or I'll call you back with a solution. You know, we all kind of lean on each other, which is really nice. No one just says, yeah, great, you can do it. No problem. Just pay me. It's not like that.
Yeah, and that's why I think, so how we know each other is when I came to set up personally, and I might get into that in a different episode actually, because that's a whole episode in itself, why I did it and how that went. But primarily moving my business over here, got in touch with Creative Zone and then started thinking, actually, you know, we need a partner to refer our clients to. GrowFactor is a UK chartered accountancy practice. We have lots of clients or prospective clients that are interested in those questions that we can't answer. So we need to refer at that point to someone that we can trust, because our reputation is everything. And the one thing that really struck me, I'm not just saying this because we're on the podcast, but the one thing that really struck me about your whole sales team, and I've met all of them, was that they will not give a false answer or push people to get that deal over the line, the company set up or whatever it might be. They'll always give the right advice, knowing that if they give the right advice and it is the right thing for that client, they will end up coming back, because that's the way that you build trust.
Yeah. Well, we don't really operate like salespeople. We're consultants. We're advisors.
Yeah.
You know, if we find the solution for you, great. If we can't, then we can't. Like, it is what it is. It's not something you can just, oh, buy this pen, buy this shoe. Like, it's not that kind of product. It's got to suit you or it doesn't.
And that is the thing nowadays. You can't, maybe you could do that 20, 30 years ago without social media. Actually, they were talking about how footballers behave now on nights out compared to in the past. In the past, they'd go out, drink, I don't know, do whatever. No one had phones with cameras in. Now, they just don't even bother going out.
Probably a good thing for the wives.
I'm not saying that I would have had a disreputable business, but if I'd have been thinking about that, it would have been possible. Now, your reputation is everything. You can't give someone bad advice in order to make a deal, because a month later they're coming back, they realize what you've done, and then they can tell the whole world about that.
Yeah.
So you have to do things in the right way. And how did you personally get over here? You weren't born in Dubai, right?
No.
How did that come about?
So I was born and raised in London. I actually came here on a hen in, I want to say 2017, 2017, something like that. And honestly, I stepped off the plane. I walked outside of the airport. I hadn't even gotten a taxi, hadn't seen anything. And for some reason, I just had this feeling that I wanted to live here. It was just like an instantaneous, this feels like home. And then by the time I made it to the hotel, I'd already planned everything. But I didn't move straight away because I was in the process of buying a place back home. So I was like, I actually worked hard for this. I want to live in it a little bit and enjoy it, and then I'll come. So I was there. I stayed another 2 years and then I moved over.
That's cool.
Yeah, it must have been 2017. Yeah.
Yeah, so you now live here. You're a resident. How is it kind of different in Dubai? What are the biggest differences, would you say, being in Dubai versus when you were living in London?
I
know what I love about it.
But that's such a broad question.
Okay, give me three things that you think are better for you right now than when you were in London.
I mean, a lot of it's going to be state the obvious, right? Lifestyle. You're not just working to survive.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that's the theme in the UK at the moment from everyone I speak to. Family, friends, clients, absolutely everyone feels the same. It's just draining. Opportunities and the people you meet, I think 100%. Is crazy here. Some of the people I've met here, I never would have thought, you know, a girl from North London would have been mixing with these kind of people. It's just crazy. Some of the people I meet and the success that they've achieved. And I think what's wild about here is the fact that everyone wants to help. I was just
about to say that and stop myself from interrupting you. Like, I feel like it's England 25, 30 years ago. Obviously, we'll get into what this podcast is about, which is the first questions for people when they're thinking about coming over here. But this podcast is for people that maybe thinking about moving, or they want to stay in the UK, but start like I am. I come out for a week every month. Yeah. And sometimes I find it hard to go home. I was speaking to a friend of mine who's a surgeon, comes out here a lot for work, does a lot of talks. He's high up in his field. He finds it difficult when he gets back to England because of the adjustment to people's attitudes.
It's different, so different.
And you end up kind of being depressed for a few days until you level yourself out, and then you go again. Yeah. Obviously, you know, my family's in England, they go to great schools, and that's why we're there. So that brings me back to myself. But from a business perspective, it feels like England 20 or 30 years ago, those relationships with these big big players, big companies, you can't leverage in the UK because someone else has already done it. Whereas in Dubai, people are open to speaking to you.
I think it's because everyone's been there. That's the thing about here. Pretty much everyone is an expat. Everyone's had to start from somewhere.
Yeah.
So there's that level of empathy of they've been there. They know what you're going through. You've just got here. You've not. Your family's not here. Your friends aren't here. You're starting completely fresh. Whether you're an employee or you're setting up your own business, it's the same thing. It's a brand new life.
Yeah.
And I think because it is more than likely that someone helped that person. It's kind of like everyone pays it forward.
Yeah.
When there's a new person, you pay it forward. You help them. Whether it's recommending areas to live, whether it's introducing them to someone that can help them, whether it's recommending restaurants, whatever it is, everyone is very, I don't know, of the same mindset of, look, we've all been there. Let's just support each other and it's fine because you don't have your people the way I haven't had my people here. So,
and do you think that will continue forever? Like, I feel like the next 10, 15 years are like that.
Yeah.
And then this whole economy develops to the point where those relationships have been formed. People are a bit more guarded of the wealth that they've already created.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because it's a different landscape here.
Yeah.
As rich as you are,
Because
down the
it's
road, there's
growing
someone
anyway,
richer
right? Yeah.
and there's always someone doing better than you. So I think there's not as much entitlement. I think in the UK, there are certain views on maybe feeling like they're being kept in a box more so than here. Whereas here is the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Like in the UK, people feel limited.
Yeah.
Even if you do achieve success, you're paying this tax, that tax, and you know, it's never ending. We know that from the UK. Whereas here, the sky's the limit and everyone knows that. And if you're doing well and someone's doing better, there's not that, well, how comes they're, you know, why are they doing better than me?
Yeah, you kind of,
I can do that.
And people get this wrong, I think. They feel like Dubai's really materialistic, but actually that whole thing of there's always someone richer than you makes me totally the opposite. I don't care about designer this, designer that, car this, car that.
It's inspiring.
What's the point? There's always someone, you don't show off through material wealth because there are so many people who are more wealthy than you. You can not show off, but you can show what you're made of here through being a good person, through building your business, through achievements. And it's kind of like, I went to a Tony Robbins event about 7 or 8 years ago. That was when it was business mastery. That was when my mindset shifted and we became a Tony Robbins partner. So we're UK, Europe. I don't know if I told you this. We're UK, Europe and rest of world exclusive partner for Tony Robbins. But it shifted my mindset and I came up with ideas. And last time I was in Dubai, I came up with an idea for a business which we're about to launch based on conversations and just the outlook and the attitude. Whereas in England, you know, you're working, typically people are working from their home office, where there's a bit dreary, normal routine, not that much to do. If you've got a family with the kids, I mean, my kids, all they do is play football because that's all there is really to do. And I do love football. But here, you wake up in the morning, the weather's always good, and you think, well, what should we do today? And there's a million things to do. Okay, let's get into the podcast. So we've sold on Dubai and why you might want to come here.
Dubai's the dream.
The other thing is tax. I realized probably last year, I know I'm an accountant and I should already know this, but sometimes you get into your day-to-day and you don't realize the trap that you're in. You know, if you're invoicing a client in the UK, £120 with VAT, if you're a higher rate taxpayer, once you get all of that money out and into your pocket, you're left with under £40 once you paid VAT, corporation tax, income tax, so on and so forth. Now, do you want to work for £120 to end up with £40? Not really. So if there's a way that you can structure your business to have some or all of it, pay less tax, whether you're moving or whether you're staying in the UK, then it really is right for you as a business owner to start exploring these options because it is a global economy now, right? And there are ways to operate in the UK and in Dubai.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the how section, okay? Early stage, right? So I know, forgive me, you will have answered these questions a million times.
It's fine. I say it 50 times a day. I might as well say it a few more times.
Okay, perfect.
At least this will reach multiple people.
Yeah, and this is about helping people, right? And make the right choices. If I'm a UK business owner and I'm hearing about Dubai for the first time, what are my options in terms of setting up a company here? And because this was crazy for me, understanding about all the different zones and just a high level.
That's why I have a job.
Yeah. What are the things what are my options in terms of company? And then we can get into kind of visas and things like that.
I mean, that is the broadest question ever.
Yeah.
And it's not something that's this is a solution for everyone, because everyone's different.
Yeah.
So give me an exact scenario. Make one up if you want.
Okay, so I'm a service-based business, which would probably be the majority of my clients. I'm not a financial institution. I'm not
You're set up
highly
already
complex.
in the UK?
I'm already set up in the UK. I want to set up a Dubai business,
Yeah.
either to move my business over here, and that might be an option in the longer term, but for the short term, to start building my business out here in Dubai to serve my clients in Dubai and globally. What are my options in terms of setup? What would you be recommending? And
So let's say you're a consultancy then,
Yeah.
just for ease.
Yeah.
So you're not planning on living here.
Not right now, no.
Okay. Is there a plan to move here?
Potentially, yeah.
When?
Next 2 to 3 years, let's say.
Okay. You
'Cause
and
this
your
is most
family,
people.
would you want an office?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Would you want staff? You've got to wait for that water because I've got a few more questions for you.
My staff are remote and they're not in Dubai because I use a global workforce. I hire people in the Philippines and India. If it's the same cost, I would hire them in Dubai. If not, I would keep my remote team offshore.
Right. Okay. And you said continue the international business
Yeah.
and grow within the UAE.
Yeah, so keep my UK clients, keep that business. If I can consult with UK tax experts, that's us, by the way, maybe I can reroute and start billing all my UK clients out of Dubai. Otherwise, I would start to build up a client base here and or in the rest of the world and use Dubai as my hub for targeting clients outside of the UK.
Okay. So if you're targeting the UAE, it would very much depend on who you're targeting and how you would provide that service.
Yeah.
So again, each and every person is different. It's not easy for me to just say this is the right solution. But let's just assume everything is remote. You're not working with the government and it's just going to be, okay, this is what we're consulting on or doing marketing or whatever, some kind of service-based activity.
Yeah.
Then we could potentially look at a free zone.
Okay. And what's a free zone?
So in the UAE, there are different types of structures: free zone, mainland, and offshore.
Okay.
Typically, offshore is for passive vehicles, special purpose vehicles, holding companies, foundations, more asset holding.
So if you were buying
Passive.
property here, you might need one
Yeah,
of those.
like a passive vehicle.
Okay. So if I'm buying an apartment, I want to put it in a company.
Yeah.
I want to Airbnb it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at
You've
mainland,
got more,
right?
yeah, you've got more legal benefits as well with those
Okay.
routes. So with the offshore jurisdictions, they're typically governed by common law.
Right.
So for those of us that don't want to follow the local legal systems,
Yeah.
that tends to be a bit more favorable.
Okay.
Succession planning, foundations sit somewhere between trusts and a holding company. So
Yeah.
you've got the flexibility and, being able to manage it.
Yeah.
But you've also got the asset protection benefits and succession planning benefits with it as well.
Okay. When you say mainland,
Yeah.
and it gives you more.
So that was offshore, by the way, because you've just jumped.
Oh, sorry. When you say, so you were talking about offshore. When you say offshore.
I thought I'd park that for a second
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
we'll move on to the operating entities.
Yeah. So, okay. What do you mean by succession planning and it's better or easier?
Succession. So
Yeah.
you've got kids.
Yeah.
So eventually, I'm assuming
You wanna
hopefully
pass
that they
everything
don't
down.
upset you.
Yeah,
You're going to want to give them
Yeah,
everything, right?
Yeah.
So this just makes that easier. The same way, like
Okay.
in the UK, you'd set up a trust
Yeah.
and it will protect your assets,
Right.
remove some
Okay.
of the inheritance tax, capital gains, stuff like that. Obviously, you've got to look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
We don't have capital gains here anyway.
Yeah.
But again, because we're all expats,
Yeah.
you don't know where you're going to be when
No.
that time comes. You don't know where your kids are going to be. You don't
Yeah.
know where their tax residency is going to be. So you've got to kind of prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate talking about death, but it's more an insurance policy, right?
Okay.
Structuring things in a way that, God forbid, if this happens,
Yeah.
your family are taken care of.
Okay. So if they're, just to conclude on that, box that bit off. If they're income generating assets or their assets and you might want to pass them down as an example, you'd set up offshore for that.
So typically, again, it depends where the assets are based.
Yeah.
You've got assets all over the world.
Yeah.
If they're very Middle East heavy in property, for example, foundation is typically the way to go.
Okay.
If they've got international assets, we may look at a multi-layer.
Yeah.
It really depends. This is
Okay.
really complex to kind of go into.
No, but this is really
not
good
case by
because
case.
people need to understand what people think is you go to Dubai and
Yeah.
you register a company. What they don't understand is, in my head, how I see it now, is like in England, you split up the country into counties.
Yeah.
right? Like Devon, Cornwall. Those are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head. If you think about Dubai and splitting it up into zones, right, like counties on a map, but these zones have their own rules, have their own trading laws, benefits, and we don't need to go into all of that now. People just need to understand that there are different zones. They're broadly categorized into free zone, mainland, or offshore. Is that right? And there'll be benefits to either one. So for a service-based online trading company, which will be most people that are looking here, you know, nomadic entrepreneurs, digital nomads, they call them now, these kind of things, what kind of company would they set up in what kind of zone? So
before I answer, what did you say? What's your examples?
Digital nomad. So exactly what we talked about, a
just
consultant,
free zone.
just working from a laptop.
Okay. So those kind of profiles typically go in the free zone. Again, the reason I have a job is because I have to delve a little bit deeper. Where are your clients? Who are you working with? How are you going to operate? How much time are you in the UAE? All of those things come into it.
Yeah.
But typically, they would end up in a free zone.
Okay.
Because it's a remote position. Again, depends.
Yeah.
If they are physically doing anything. Again, who they're doing it for. So a lot of questions kind of come up before I ever give a solution to anything, but typically something that is completely remote, not working with the government, you know, kind of all online, which a lot of roles are now. You know, a lot of positions, a lot of jobs, a lot of businesses do work purely remotely, which makes sense now to be in a free zone the majority of the time.
Yeah.
If someone is looking to build the business more on the ground, work with the government, expand, physically do something here or deal with something tangible in the country, then they're probably going to need to look at mainland.
Okay. Like I have a client and friend who has a takeaway restaurant who wants to come over here.
Yeah.
Because there's no one in that space right now. So they're looking at properties and locations and then they'll want to set up. So they'll be...
But this is the grey zone. Because if they want a location within a free zone, they have to get the free zone license.
Right, okay.
Because you're allowed to operate within the free zone.
Yeah.
If you've got the free zone license, even tangible, physical, anything.
Okay, so the biggest takeaway is you need good professional advice. And there must be so many people...
It's a little bit of a minefield.
Yeah, giving bad advice as well. Like there are accountants. I mean, I would say there's a handful of accountants that are actually advisors in the UK.
Yeah.
And actually understand... giving financial advice as a CFO, but also giving international tax advice. The rest of them are just either saying, no, I don't want to give that advice, or making it up as they go along. Or maybe there are some here that understand one particular zone and just push that on everyone.
Yeah.
Because it's easier.
The beauty of how we're structured is we are purely independent. We cover the whole of the UAE.
And there's no financial benefit to you.
We have partnerships with the free zones because obviously that brings the cost down for our clients.
Right.
The more partnerships we get and the more we get paid from the jurisdiction, the less we can charge clients, of course.
Okay. So because of your volume as well, it may be more cost effective as well.
So we've got those agreements. So a lot of the time we can charge free zone price to our clients anyway.
Yeah.
Again, it depends. Okay. There are certain jurisdictions that won't do partnerships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There will be certain ones that only work with one provider, for example, which to me makes no sense, but that it happens.
Yeah.
But I think certainly the way I operate, and I think the rest of the team as well, we're all pretty much on the same page. We will give the advice regardless, even if it's something that we're not partnered with. Look, you'd pay us for this.
Yeah.
But the majority of people don't mind, to be honest. They don't mind paying for that guidance.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've had a lot of situations where people have spoken to someone down the road that has charged them 1,000 dirhams. They've set up with them and then come back to me a year later and said, I'm miserable. I've not been able to open a bank account. They've not been helpful. This has been chaos. And then at that point, sometimes unfortunately I have to say, well, I'm really sorry. I can't take over the license now because you've set it up with them. And it's not something we can do. Oh, I can't say this. I was going to give an example and I can't say that.
But there's this thing, right? If they've set up with someone else.
You can cut that before I started.
Yeah. So if someone sets up with someone else and they do give them the wrong advice and everything's registered, is that easy if they come back to you for you to reverse out of that? Because I remember we spoke recently about potentially people being locked in because providers get this exclusive agreement or arrangement once they've had a setup.
So when you set up with a certain provider, they've had a certain level of input into this, right? So they've created the company. They've had an input into the kind of legal structure. So when that happens, the free zone won't hold them accountable, but they're attached to it, not in any way legally, like we don't own your business or anything, but just the free zone kind of communicate with us, and if there's an issue and we've helped create that issue, they want to hold us accountable.
Okay.
So essentially, yes, link to us.
Yeah.
But there's always a way to get out of it. Of course, you can ask for an NOC and switch providers.
Right. Okay.
But
what's an NOC?
Non-objection certificate.
Okay, so you have to, this is what I found unbelievable, but actually I think it's one of the nice things about Dubai, because there is a lot put in to create loyalty and stability for business providers, so that if you go and set up with, I don't know, one company over here, you can't then, well, you can, but it's not as easy for a client to change their mind halfway through the process and go to someone else.
There's not like a 14-day calling off period here.
Yeah.
Like everyone needs to be aware of that. It's not the UK. You don't have that. You make up your mind and make sure you're making the right choice.
Yeah.
And I think the hardest part of my job is when I play cleanup, when I'm cleaning up someone else's mess.
What are typically some of the things that you do?
They'll set them up with the wrong license. They'll add all these random activities to their license that don't even make sense to what they're doing, for one.
Yeah.
Creates problems with them getting bank accounts. It just causes chaos for absolutely no reason.
One thing I found recently as well, I had a client that's looking to now get a mortgage or get funding, and even just little details like how you've been set up on your residency visa.
The type of visa makes a difference,
Can have an impact on how the government look at you, and then therefore what lending criteria you're going to have, what banks will look at you, and so on and so forth. And that's not easy to reverse.
No, you'd have to cancel and start again.
Yeah, which is a pain. Okay, so the biggest takeaway from that first part is it is more complex than you think. You don't just come to Dubai and push a button.
Questions.
Yeah, like in the UK, you go to companiesmadesimple.com. I mean, this is what we do for our clients. We might charge them £300-400 for a registration, but it's just because of the time that it takes. And then, like you said, asking the questions about, we'll ask questions about shareholders and legal protection and all these things and make sure it's set up correctly. But then ultimately, once it's done, we'll go to companiesmadesimple.com. We don't have a partnership with them. It's just easy.
You don't have to think about
push
the
a button,
of
register
their life,
it. It's a UK limited company. Very, very rare would we register, and it wouldn't be our client anyway, an LLP or a partnership or recommend sole traders, just one structure in one place, the UK. Whereas here it's more complex, right? And people probably didn't know that.
We've got different free zones for specific activities as well. So if you're a financial institution, there's specific free zones that you need to be set up in. If you are selling gold, diamonds, whatever, there's probably a handful of free zones that you'd look at, for example.
Yeah.
There are specific free zones for different industries as well.
Yeah.
And you've also got to think about external approvals, because depending on what people are doing, there are additional governing bodies that will govern those activities.
Right, okay.
There's paid up share capital that can go sky high depending on what you're doing as well.
Okay, yeah, so it is complex. Talk to an advisor.
Sorry to scare you guys.
No,
it's easy for me.
It's right, because to me, I think what happened with my setup is I come in, I talk to you guys. There's an assumption, because I'm an accountant and I've been around for 20 years, that I've already done my own research and I know these answers. So I got recommended by your team the right thing.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, here's what we're going to do for you, Simon. Because I'm very different. You wouldn't treat me like a normal client. Then I had to say, no, look, let's do this. But also I want to understand it afterwards. So some of these questions I'm answering are still for me, because I'm reversing back to get the knowledge, which I would have been given definitely if I'd have just been a normal person. But there was an assumption, because, which, you know, I don't tend to do my research. I just trust in the partner and then trust that the partner.
Well, I treat everyone as a normal person.
So. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm kind of normal, a little bit weird. And can you walk us through what the setup process actually looks like? So from an initial inquiry, I've come in, maybe we're setting up in the free zone. I'm set up in mainland. So let's use me as an example. Mm-hmm. I know what I had to do, but for our viewers, listeners, and I'll give you a couple of funny things that happened to me when I was setting up as well. Choice. What are the other things that we had to consider? Is it just registering the company? Do I need a visa? How do I get a bank account? These kind of things. I'd say the critical three things are company setup, bank account and access, and the visa, right? Is there anything else that's on the critical list that you'd set up if you were coming over?
I mean, you need to register for tax.
Okay, and register for tax. Yeah. Otherwise, there's a big fine if you don't register in time, right?
Correct.
But what happened with me is someone told me, oh, there's a big fine. I WhatsApp my contact at Creative Zone, and they said, "Don't worry, we've already done that." So another reason for just picking the right person is that, like with my clients, them and their registration deadlines aren't on them; it's on me. As soon as they start working with GrowFactor, we take responsibility for that, right? So how do you get a visa? Like, what's the actual process? Do you have to come over here to Dubai to do this? Can you do it remotely?
I love that he's acting like he doesn't know, like he hasn't been through it, but it's fine. We'll start from scratch. Okay. So first, you speak to me. We obviously run through what is necessary, what needs to be done. Then we'll look at when the person actually needs to be in Dubai or UAE. It might not be Dubai. We also set up in Saudi and the rest of the GCC as well. So I'll use the UAE for now, but obviously the process slightly differs with the rest of the GCC.
Okay.
So UAE setup, we'll look at what the setup is, when the person needs to be here or people, how long they need to be here.
So you do need to come to Dubai. I can't sit in my office in.
So for the license,
Birmingham.
again, if it's free zone, then typically we can set it up remotely.
Right, okay.
So free zone can be done, most free zones. Let me not put everything in the same box.
Yeah, that's fine. This has to be really high level, because I think if we go into every little eventuality, we will be here for 22 hours doing the first episode.
So let's just use the general rule. Free zone, typically we can set that up remotely. So that would be probably a week to 2 weeks, depends on what we're setting up. Okay. This is under the assumption, again, that there's no physical location.
Yeah, so, let's do that, because that will be 80%, right? And 20% will be physical, so we can cover that separately. So
then once the license is issued, then the immigration card is applied for and issued.
Okay.
So this is about 2 to 3 weeks worth of work max.
Yeah.
That's all remote.
What's the immigration card?
So that's essentially the file with the immigration, allowing the business to issue visas.
Okay, so that is the immigration card is
you can't
for
get a visa
the
without
business.
that.
It's not for the
correct. You get one of those for the business.
Okay.
So every visa here is attached to something, whether it's a property you own, whether it's someone that employs you, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a business that you own. Like every visa is attached to something.
Yeah.
So that's just the easiest way of kind of giving the visual, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That looks.
And then so my company's set up. I've got a company immigration
card.
I was going to say certificate.
Card.
Now, do I need a visa?
If you want a bank account, yeah.
Okay, so I want a bank account because I want to receive money. I want to set up Zero. I want to have online accounting.
So typically, even if clients aren't living here, my advice is always get a visa.
Yeah.
Because logistically, you're going to struggle to do anything. Yeah. You need to be able to sign things, get a bank account open, do everything you need to do.
Right, okay.
So getting a visa is necessary.
Yeah.
If they get a visa against a business, have to travel in once within every 6 months. Super crucial.
So you have to come on holiday to Dubai every 6 months?
Have to.
Oh,
right.
No. And that's for work purposes as well. So that would be tax deductible in a UK company.
Here's the accountant.
Yeah, okay. All right. So we have to come here. Initially, we have to come as well, though, to get the visa, right?
Let me get there.
Okay.
I think Simon wants to interview himself, guys.
I know, I do love to talk.
So once the remote part is done, license and immigration card, then the client will let us know when they want to come over.
Okay.
And then visa will be done within a week to 2 weeks, depends what we're doing, where we're doing it.
And are there any other tests? Because I saw things about facial recognition, biometrics, medicals, all this
part of the visa process.
Right.
So the visa process, which you know, is medical test,
I'm just pretending that I don't know.
I know, but it's fine. It's for you guys. Blood test, chest x-ray, biometrics. So your eyeballs and your fingerprints and all of that stuff.
What are they testing for in the blood test?
HIV, TB with the chest x-ray, I think. Anything kind of contractable.
Right, okay. So we're all good. We come in. Now, my experience was I went in, I had a driver pick me up from the hotel. It's quite funny, actually. I mean, we have processes at GrowFactor where not every little thing gets accounted for because there's an assumption. And we have to, even 15 years in, take points and then try and improve our process. So this is not me getting at Creative Zone. It's just a funny story. I was not told that you have to wear trousers to get into the government buildings. So when I came here for my
probably because you act like you're not a normal person and you know everything.
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah, because my onboarding process wasn't. That's probably right, actually. Accountant talking to another accountant, or yeah.
Basically,
that's what
Simon
happened.
was a bit of a know-it-all, guys.
Yeah, so I turned up anyway with my suitcase with only shorts in, and then I went down for my appointment with the driver, who then said, no. I was like, what's he saying no for? Starts WhatsApping. He's like, you can't go into a government building with shorts on. You need to go get some trousers. I haven't got any trousers.
Straight
So
to Dubai Mall then?
Yeah, to the mall. I like to be on my diet, especially when I'm away, because you end up just eating restaurant food and takeaway food and you feel horrible afterwards. And what I discovered last time I came is that you can stay in a hotel and then cream like 4 or 5 prep meals a day, and they deliver them to your hotel. You go pick them up and they literally come within 20 minutes. So lots of we have got restaurant. What's that?
I've never used this service.
It's so good. Just grilled chicken, vegetables, rice.
Sounds exciting.
Delightful. But I think a lot of restaurants in the UK are picking up on the fact that they could come here. A lot of businesses are picking up on the fact that it's difficult to grow their business in the UK. Could they bring their business here? Is there a gap for it? So if you've got a physical business like that, whether it's a retail store or a takeaway, are there any other steps other than bank account, visa,
I think I mentioned earlier that there'll be certain activities with external approvals.
Right, okay.
So like with restaurants
you
or
have to have health and safety
anything
and all that stuff.
that goes in your body or on your body here. So creams, jewelry even, food, anything like that has specific governing bodies that will oversee it. Majority of the time it's Dubai municipality.
Okay.
So your kitchen has to be up to scratch. It has to have the correct drainage. Your location needs to kind of tick all of these boxes before you are allowed to operate.
And do you help with that side, or do you leave that to someone
Typically,
else?
the external approvals, we can't really do too much. There are certain situations we can, but they will only speak to the manager on the license. We'll obviously guide and say, right, you need to register here. You need to arrange this. And we can sometimes arrange the appointments, but they need to see the person who's actually going to be running the show.
And so let's say that person comes here. Let me ask this question in a better way. They don't know what to do to frame that location, to make sure they know they're going to pass whatever test it is.
But we give them that information.
Okay, so you do that, right?
So that is part of the research.
Make sure you've
so
got
for example, your friend that I spoke to about setting up a restaurant, all of that information was provided.
And you have done that at the point where they haven't paid you anything, right?
Yeah, of course.
So all your sales calls and all these consultancy, like,
I mean,
why
look,
don't
I'm
you
not going
charge
to speak to
people
someone
for that?
15 times for free. Don't get me wrong. But I know it's overwhelming. I know there's a lot of things that you kind of need to make sense of before you pull the trigger and get going. And the majority of people, when you bring enough value, respect your time enough. You know, that of course there are people that get all the information and then go to Tom down the road that charges this.
But you can't control that, right?
I can't control it, but
I really like it personally. I saw another accountant that's over here in Dubai saying they charge £100, and this is fine. Maybe she's right. Maybe I'm wrong. They charge £100 for a call to consult UK entrepreneurs on any aspect of setting up in Dubai. I'm saying limit the time of the call so there's a frame of reference to half an hour or 15 minutes or whatever it is. So in their head, they're not on the phone to you on a Teams call making notes for 2 hours, right, for free. But give them the advice they need up front. And as a business owner, you're planting seeds. Even if they don't come with you now, that goodwill is going to come back and help you.
To be honest, I am all about helping people. Just my nature is...
Give as gain, right?
I will just pay everything forward because I've been so blessed. So many people have helped me in my life. So for me, if I can help them... How many people, even if they haven't ended up setting up, even if it's out of their budget, even if it's a lot more than they expected, they will refer someone to me. So it's just the way it goes. Because they'll feel
indebted to you anyway, right?
It's not even about the debt. It's just I brought value to them. They appreciated it. They've passed it on. Of course, you've got the people that will get all the information and go and do it themselves. And, you know, that's fine. I can't control that. But thankfully, the majority of people respect the fact that I have done a lot of work. I've not charged any money because I genuinely want to help.
And then they're missing a trick, in my opinion, because if you go and set up yourself, not that I even know how that's possible, or go with someone cheaper, this is what I always tell accounting clients, it will come back to you negatively at some point because you don't have the right person supporting you.
But it's not just the business setup. I think this is what people need to understand. It's not just the business setup. You've got to think about the activities.
Yeah.
You've got to think about what your responsibilities are afterwards. You know, you'll get automated emails from us, right? You need to register for this by this date, or you'll get a fine of 50,000.
And now, like tax filing, you guys have got a whole department on, which is why, I mean, we partnered with you. And at the time I was thinking, look, shall I just set up a company myself in Dubai, doing company business setup, registrations, bookkeeping, accounting, tax. And then I had a quick conversation with you, quick conversation with a few of your colleagues, and quickly realised you guys have got, like, I don't even know what your headcount is, 100 plus?
It's ridiculous. 100? We're closer to 300.
Yeah, so and these are all experts
and this
with
is just
individual
in the UAE.
sub-departments, right?
Yeah.
Like how I'm going to get my head around how to take on a client in Dubai, what are the corporate tax deductions, how do I submit, what button do I push, what authorizations do I, like it's like starting a whole new, I'm 15 years in, to a UK chartered accountancy practice. I don't want to start a whole new business from scratch.
Look, I've been doing this for 4 years, and how many of my clients say, well, why don't you just do this yourself? You're so good. I'm like, you do not understand what goes on in the background.
And it's always changing.
Yeah.
So you need someone which you've got on the ground in the free zone offices or in the government offices or whatever, understanding all of these changes and constantly planning for the future.
But it's also contacts as well. Like we have people that we can call if, you know, please help us. This client's only here for a short space of time. Okay, we've had a bit of a hiccup on this. Can you help? You know, not anything illegal, but we've made those contacts. We've made those friends. And this whole country is built on contacts.
Yeah.
So we leverage those to benefit our clients as much as we can, wherever we can.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, even if it's not Creative Zone, whichever partner you're choosing, super important. Like I say to people now, we're just lucky at GrowFactor that we're in that sweet spot of not being too big, but not being that 1 or 2 or 3 man band.
Yeah.
So we have flexibility to give personal service and give free consultations and things of that nature. And you're speaking to someone at a high level, but we're not KPMG who don't give about small business or the startup or the entrepreneur.
I don't think it's fair to say that.
No, I know that. They started KPMG small business. I qualified at KPMG. They treated me like dirt. They didn't care less about me. They started KPMG small business to do what GrowFactor does. And guess what happened to that? It failed. They closed it down because they don't understand it. What they think is we can put a load of accountants.
Business model is just very different.
Yeah, right? We'll put a load of accountants in a room that have never run a business themselves. They're not entrepreneurial, right? You guys sit and are around, and you yourself around the owners of the business all the time. You see how Creative Zone develops. You develop that entrepreneurial mindset. For me, it's important picking a partner that actually understands what a successful business is. Even though you're not running the business for your clients, you do need to understand that side so you can get into their mindset.
I think our roles are all very much like we're running our own little business anyway. All of us, all of the consultants, myself included. Obviously, I do the partnerships and the structuring, so I've got a bit of a dual role. But all of us operate.
Content queen.
Yeah, apparently. God, give me strength. So yeah, we all kind of operate as our own mini business within the business anyway. Yeah. Because we've all got our partners, we've all got different things that we do. We go to events, we've got our own partners that we work with, like law firms, accountants. So we've got to maintain all of those little relationships as well, as well as manage the process. Because once I take your money, I'm not just going to be like, all right, great, you're their problem now, let me move on. We stay involved. You know, we oversee the whole process. Is the license happening in the time frame I've said? Yep. That's super crucial for me. If I've said to you it's going to happen in this time frame, I want it to happen in that time frame or less, so you can be happy. So for us, we monitor the compliance. We stay on top of the client relationship team. We stay on top of operations, the drivers. We have overview of everything because for us, if you're upset and you've been referred by someone else, or you were going to refer someone else, or you have referred someone else, it's just like a domino effect.
Yeah, and it's not just about social media. Like you said, in Dubai, it's all about network. Yeah. And it's like a critical path. You break one thing in that path and the whole thing falls down. So, okay, people need to know as well. They've got their company, they've got their residency visa, all that stuff set up, great. There is tax now, right? From next year, there'll be 9% corporation tax. What do people need to do?
Next year.
Is it this year?
It's already kicked in.
Okay,
Just
there
say
is
there's
9% corporation tax. Okay, shows how much attention I pay. And there are
Maybe
ways.
cut that out, Mr.
No,
Tax
you can't
and
cut that out.
Accounting.
You can't cut it out.
That makes you look so bad.
It's okay. I don't mind. It's authentic. Like,
oh Lord.
when I set up in the UK, I didn't know how to do a self-assessment or a VAT return or anything. Like, the reason why, again, another reason why I'm partnered with you guys, I don't have to know when the tax kicks in. Because anyone that we work with together, I'm giving them advice from a UK perspective. Is this set up in Dubai compliant? What taxes can you avoid? What do you need to do in the UK? If they're moving here, what do you need to do to exit? That's my role, right? When they come to Dubai and they set up, the role of what Dubai taxes it or UAE taxes are you going to pay? What are the filing requirements? Who's going to do your bookkeeping? That's all on Creative Zone. So I don't need to know
I mean, it's Creative Zone Tax and Accounting.
Okay,
not
yeah.
me. Okay.
And I like that, because then I can be the expert on what I'm doing, which is the UK side. And also what we do is fractional CFO. So I might like hassle your team. Okay, if I refer a client and you're doing bookkeeping, do it weekly, please do it in Xero, because I want to run like sales and cash flow metrics on a weekly basis, and that's how we'd work together. So 9%, they have to file corporation tax returns. But ideally, you just want someone, in my opinion, doing your bookkeeping, keeping it up to date, filing it for you and working with you, not...
I mean, look, I've been here so many years. I've worked in this industry for so many years. I still don't fully understand the complexities of everything that goes on in the background. You would probably understand it more than me just because you are in that field.
Yeah.
But I know you have to be registered. I know everything has to tick its boxes. And I also know that the UAE love handing out huge fines when you do not adhere to the rules.
Yeah, like what's the fine for not registering for corporation tax within the timely
50?
manner?
Is it 50,000?
It's like £2,000 or something stupid, isn't it? No, £10,000.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is it 10,000?
50,000 dirhams, something like that, yeah. It's crazy.
I can't.
So the fines here are
I
no
think
joke.
it's
It's not like in the
50,000,
UK where it's like £100. It's like the speeding tickets. Someone told me they got a £2,000, 10,000 dirham
That's
fine.
a lie. I get a speeding ticket every week.
How much is it?
It's like 600 dirhams. It's like £150.
Oh, okay. All right. They were lying. All right, fair enough.
I mean, I think if you're going a ridiculous speed, you get a high one. But like, I don't do that.
Maybe this was changing lanes. Anyway, on the accounting side,
they're
I'm going to
cheaper.
get your colleague in, who's head of tax and accounting for Creative Zone Accounting and Tax, or however you say it,
Okay.
and grill him for 2 hours about accounting and tax requirements. So
Who are you bringing
get
in?
excited for that one. Your head of accounting and tax.
I don't know who that
We'll
is.
wait for that one. We'll do a launch. Shows how much you do get involved in the accounting and tax. I would do what you're doing and just stay away from it. And the thing I'd say is
It's not mine.
it's a changing market.
Yeah.
So even experts, like I met at a networking event, an accountancy firm that are based in the UK, but also here, but they do much smaller clients than us. So we would refer smaller clients to them. If we didn't have you guys, they would do that. We would do bigger clients. For their side, they're basically saying, look, there's going to be tax, but it's very judgmental grey area on what the deductions are that you can put against your income to reduce your taxable profits.
Yeah.
Could you, for example, make £1 million profit in the UAE and then put a salary in of £1 million to reduce your tax to nil? Potentially.
I am not a tax expert.
No, I'm not asking you the question.
Okay,
I'm just floating it, right?
Fine.
For the
No,
teaser
you can't,
for the next
you can't
podcast.
make it 100% anyway.
You can't make it 100%.
No, there are
it has to
rules.
be commercially viable, but then also
It has to be in line with
In
the
line.
market.
Yeah,
so if
so-
your role as a CEO,
Yeah.
the salary has to be in line with the UAE market.
Okay, yeah. So UAE partners at, let's say, KPMG or PwC, for example, for my business, might get paid £900,000. So if I make that profit in my UAE company and I put that through, there's not much they can do about
I
it
think
at
there's
this time.
still caps.
Yeah. So this is the thing that I'm going to get into when we do the tax.
Yeah,
and
do that with
accounting
an expert.
Right? I want to sort of start wrapping up because I told you we'd go over and we are already well over. How does banking work here? Because people have told me sort of horror stories about there's no online banks. This is the thing I worry about, and I know this is going to be a worry or concern for UK people. In the UK, you feel like your money's secure because you've got Barclays, HSBC, You've got 85,000 covered by the compensation scheme. When we had the financial crash, no one lost their money because the government will always just come and bail them out. We feel like, okay, I'm going to put £1 million into this Dubai bank account. Can I access it online? Can I do online bank transfers? How safe is the money? I know this is a ridiculous question, but this is what people I speak to.
I mean, I
in the
don't
UK
think it's ridiculous.
Can the
'cause it's
government
same
just
as
take
anyone.
my money off me?
I mean, why would they?
I
I mean,
don't know.
think about your £1 million, right? Let's just put this into context.
Yeah.
compared to some of the amount of money in certain bank accounts here. Why would they take your little 1 million?
Yeah.
If you want to look at it kind of completely,
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm trying to say.
No, they wouldn't, because there's much. It's
anyway,
like where I live, right? It's a good analogy. I live down a private road, 5 houses. My next door neighbor is a footballer. He's got a Lamborghini, some Mercedes, and a G-Wagon, right? And I've got 2 Teslas outside. So if someone breaks in to this development, whose house are they going to break into?
Whatever one's easier, I guess.
Yeah, no, they break into the footballer's house, because I've got electric cars, you can't steal them, and they're cheap and they're worth nothing. He's got 500 grand's worth of cars on the driveway. Yeah. So I sleep at night feeling so safe. I mean, people wouldn't come in anyway because it's behind a private gate and so on and so forth. But that is what you're saying.
So your advice is live next to someone richer
live
than
next
you.
to a footballer, yeah. If they're going to take someone's money, not that they would, there's plenty more accounts to look at.
That was a silly answer, right? But the reality is,
how safe is the money? Yeah.
If you look at the banking history here,
yeah,
there was obviously the 2008 crisis, which made them tighten up a lot. You know, I don't know the ins and outs of exactly what happened, but I know that there was a crisis with a certain bank within the UAE. And before it caused anyone any issues and anyone realized what was going on, from what I've understood, the royal family got involved and they said, nope, this isn't happening.
Yep.
They solved it. They got some kind of merger involved. Everything was fine. No one knew any different.
Yeah, so ultimately it's the same as the UK. It's just a perception of something new brings fear, potentially. If you think about it,
I think you're safer here. My personal opinion, because the UAE is relatively young, right? And it is very much a reputation-driven place.
Yeah.
They want to maintain the safety aspect physically, financially. Come here. This is the land of opportunities. This is where you can come and grow and build and continue. A scandal like that would cause so much chaos.
Yeah.
I do not for a second foresee the government, the royal family, whoever it is that you want to
letting that happen, right?
Allowing that to happen.
Yeah, and it shouldn't anyway, because the cash is put into banks.
I mean, I'm not a finance expert, so I'm sure there's more technical answers as well, but just from a reputation.
Yeah, do you know what? I'll do research and I might cover that in the accounting and tax podcast, because I'm sure there are, like you said, when they tightened up, regulations now that they can't take all the money and invest it over here. They have to keep a certain amount. 2008
massively changed things here, the landscape, because there were a lot of people obviously leaving Lamborghinis and houses and whatever when all of that happened. So I think that was a massive shifting point.
Can you do online banking?
Of course.
What's a bank that you would recommend people to set
We
up
work with WEO a lot.
Yeah.
So even the online banks are linked to local banks who are governed by the central bank.
Okay.
So you're still governed anyway, even if it's online.
Yeah.
Just for me, a digital bank is less thrills. That's it.
Okay. And do you need, or can you, at the same time when I'm coming over to set up my business bank account, can I get a personal bank account? So that's all boxed off as well? Because if I do want to move here.
As long as you've got your visa, you're fine. Okay. You can do both.
And that stays valid so long as I come in and out every 6 months.
Correct.
What I thought was interesting, actually, every time I go to Dubai airport now and I'm looking at all the queues, I'm thinking, have I got this residency visa now? Can I go in a different line?
Yeah, you can go in the smart one. I don't even need to show my passport.
You just show the residency
visa? I just go to the camera. I don't show anything. I walk in, I look at the camera, it scans me and it opens with my name.
That'll work now. I've got a beard. And
I'm sure the beard's not going to affect it. You'll be fine.
What's been the biggest myth, do you think, or misconception that people have about setting up in Dubai? We'll take out the word biggest because that makes your brain think, oh, this has to be the best one. What is a myth or misconception?
What are people worried about? You probably speak to more people than I do about this question.
I think...
no one really tells me what they're worried about, just more their lives.
People are very worried about what happens on the UK side, if we're speaking about UK people.
Yeah.
Right, one of the reasons why we started working together is, and this is what I like about Creative Zone as well, you recognise that actually having a UK accountant partner to answer UK-related questions is important versus just having one of your in-house team research. You know, we've got 25, 30 people constantly looking at UK tax, one person who's chartered tax advisor just sitting there reading all the legislation and we've hired someone specifically on international tax.
Poor thing.
Yeah, they love tax. They love tax. I love tax actually as well, but hiring someone specifically on international tax that just sits there looking at it is important. And the biggest thing I think, myth or fear, probably more than myth, is if I go and set up in Dubai, is that going to create some issue for me in the UK?
Yeah,
What can I
okay. So
do?
when
What
you asked
can't
that
I do?
question, I was thinking more from a perspective of here. Because
Yeah,
then I
no, it
think
could
about
be
like
here
people
or
saying to me,
there.
"Oh, can you wear what you want?" Like I was thinking more that
Oh yeah, lifestyle.
aspect.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
kept
yeah.
that. Maybe we'll do that in another one. What's it like to actually move here?
No, I think to be honest, the Middle East, the perception on the Middle East has changed a lot, especially from a commercial standpoint. It's
Yeah.
not what it was 5, 10 years ago. You know, every year I think everyone's becoming a bit more open to the fact that actually this is a great place to grow.
Yeah.
And it's not deemed like a BVI or a Jersey once was, if that makes sense,
Which
where
is,
it's like a dodgy
yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying they are, but
No, it's
perceptions.
the perception of it.
Yeah.
And I had that from a client that said, wow, we've got clients in the US. Will they
Yeah.
be happy paying into a Dubai registered bank account?
Yeah.
So this is one of the myths.
I think
When
it's
they
the
talk
perceptions.
to their clients, the clients were fine about it because it's already in their head that they may want to set up somewhere. Unless you're direct to consumer, but even then they're aware of it. I think Dubai's done such a good job of PR and brand around Dubai itself versus
But
Cayman
there's
Islands.
such big players here. It's not like it's 20 years ago when no one was here. There are such big players that have set up here and expanded into this country specifically. Saudi the same.
And Saudi market is, I mean, population is lower, or its population is higher.
The
Business
infrastructure
activity
they're building
is
going to be a monster.
Yeah.
Like, what it's going to look like in 20 years is going to be crazy.
So this wasn't one of my questions, but should you just come and set up in Dubai? Or should you go straight to Saudi then?
Saudi's a lot more expensive.
Okay.
Saudi has higher taxes.
Yeah.
And Saudi also requires, depends on the type of business, higher paid up share capital, higher investment into the country. Your business has to already have been operating somewhere else. You can't just set up a brand new entity as an expat.
Right.
You have to have had a business somewhere else minimum of a year, and it has to be profitable.
Is there a way to trade in Saudi then, but have a license?
Trading is hard work.
Over here?
Yeah, trading is hard work there because the government did, I don't know what the right word is, try to encourage people a couple of years ago to only work with other Saudi entities to obviously build the economy.
Yeah.
So yes, they do work with companies outside the country.
Yeah.
But there is more of an initiative now pushing local businesses to work with each other.
What are you advising people then from a commercial perspective if the question is, do I just ignore it or should I start to get involved now? What are my
There's
first
no
steps?
legal reason not to work with Saudi. If you're set up in the UAE, you can have a contract with them, but you may get to a stumbling point where it's right. Okay, you now want to go, bid for this tender, and they will only work with Saudi entities.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So you may get to those points, but again, if it's a trading activity, the financial implications relating to a trading activity being set up in Saudi, not UAE, Saudi, is very high, and a lot of businesses can't do that. So
for a service business, if you're online and remote and your clients are all over the place anyway, you wouldn't be targeting Saudi necessarily anyway. You'd be going into Saudi because there would be some sort of business opportunity for
anyone that gets in Saudi now and
Yeah.
starts building a reputation for themselves, I think it will pay off tenfold.
So if you're, for example, a UK accountancy firm with a focus on providing UK tax to expats and you got in there now, you build
This is my
a
personal
reputation.
opinion. This isn't my professional advice.
Yeah.
This is my personal opinion. I think Saudi is going to be a monster.
Okay.
And anyone that gets
first.
in early and builds a reputation and, sets roots, I think will benefit if they've, got the correct business
Creative
model.
Zone going to
We've got
set
an
up in
office
Saudi.
there.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've already
It's
been through the
mainly-
process of actually registering there.
Yeah.
You have an existing business
So
here.
we do register, we register businesses there.
Yeah.
The office on the ground there is more the back end operations PROs doing the on the ground stuff. So we still operate from our UAE entity.
Okay.
So
Right,
we
okay.
will be I'll still be the one giving advice, for example. But then on the ground we have people that handle the logistics.
So if I ask you, what's the one thing people should consider that most people overlook? You could say...
Their home country responsibilities.
Okay. We're sort of running to time, actually, which is rare for me. I really want to cover, probably for you, what's the one thing or the biggest thing that people who are coming to Dubai often overlook?
I mean, I don't necessarily know if people overlook it, but they don't necessarily know the ins and outs about breaking away or expanding from their home country. I think
Yep.
that's probably the biggest thing,
Yep.
that there's only so much I can help with, right? I don't know the rules of every single country, which is why we have partners like you, like others in different countries that can help fill that gap.
Yeah.
But that is probably the biggest thing.
Okay.
On an individual basis, on a corporate basis, all of those things need to be considered, because it's easy for me to just set up someone a business, but then they need people like you to actually close the gap, because
Yeah.
otherwise, if you're exposed, there's not really much I can do to fix that.
Typically where we've worked together really well is that people might come to you, they're like, okay, I want to go ahead. They'll go back to their accountant a lot of the time, which is what we found, and they just don't have the expertise. So they're either saying, no, don't set up in Dubai.
Yeah.
Or they're saying, you can set up there, but we have no idea what advice to give you on a UK side to make sure that's compliant. So just a little bit, and we will cover this in a future episode. I've spoken to you and to the sales team at Creative Zone, just so they have a high level understanding. But ultimately for a business, you can either choose, if you're moving here permanently, to set your business up here and start invoicing and enjoying all the benefits that we've been through in Dubai. Then it's just a case of making sure that if you're closing down your UK operation, you do that in the right way. For example, people think they can just pick up the billing of their UK clients, move it over to Dubai and start again. But actually, HMRC will want tax on the transfer of the value of those clients, whether that's e-commerce or service business, and the fact that you've moved them out of the UK to another jurisdiction. So really, you should value your business, put a value on that transfer. Just let me know if this does make sense or doesn't, because you're the perfect person. If it makes sense to you, then it makes sense to a listener, right? There's value in that business that you've got in the UK. You can't just move it and do nothing. You have to pay tax on the transfer. So our role is to make people aware of that. It's to say, look, how do we minimize the taxable value of the transfer? And that is possible. It is possible. I had a situation where if we did nothing, it was £2 million as a valuation transfer and then tax on the transfer. We did effective tax planning and we got it down to £100,000. So
That's
tax
a
on
huge
100,000,
difference.
massive difference. So that's one thing. If you're moving here, you can't just move. You could just move and do nothing, but then be prepared to never ever go back to the UK again, because technically what you're doing is tax evasion, which is so tax avoidance is great. That's what we want to do. Tax evasion is where they could potentially lock us up. That's not what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
Another scenario, like lots of your clients, they're still living in the UK. That's their primary base. They have a UK business. Their options there for reducing their tax liability is, one, actually have an office here, hire people, have a team, and think about maybe your team's costing you £10,000 a month. Potentially, you could uplift that cost. Let's say it's 50,000 and charge that back to your UK company. Now you've taken 50,000 out of your UK company and you've reduced your profits. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That piece is all about transfer pricing, and there's a whole kind of legislation around this. What's the right transfer price? You can go to HMRC and get approval for how you've created that transfer price. So that's where we come in.
I think I hear those two words 55,000 times a week. So, yeah.
Transfer pricing. Yeah. I mean, like big companies, they have departments that literally sit there on transfer pricing all the time. What's fair market
To
value?
protect yourselves, yeah.
But the concept of having a business here, whether your staff are in the UAE or maybe they're in the Philippines, but you're putting them through the UAE entity and uplifting them, is that genuine or is it just tax avoidance? That's really you can do it, but you've got to be really careful. The other one is moving over and again, value the transfer, maybe your brand and IP, and then license that back to the UK.
Yeah.
The golden scenario really is, could you set up a business in Dubai? So I say could you, because it's not always possible. Could you show HMRC in the UK that you're managing and controlling your operations from Dubai, not from the UK? Now, if that is commercially the case, maybe you partner with 2 or 3 other directors over here. When you're not in the UAE, they're running the business from the UAE. So the only stuff that's getting done in the UK are things and tasks that have been instructed from the UAE. That would be a business.
So essentially it's just creating substance and making sure it's a viable business. That is
Yeah, and
actually
not doing what most people do, which is they think they can just set up a business, make up, this is amazing, Shelin. People think they can say, oh, I'll just charge 50K as a management fee from my Dubai company to my UK company. When I ask them, well, what are they doing for that management fee? Nothing. Do you have any staff? No. Have you established management and control? No. So I'm not trying to be negative, because it is definitely possible to still be in the UK and mitigate some or all of your corporation tax, but you have to do it in the right way, and you have to seek professional advice. And this is where we've had kind of a short but really successful relationship, because where your clients are ready to sign up and set up Dubai, but their accountant's not giving them the support, we offer your clients that free consultation.
To be honest, this is what I get with most of my clients. Germany is a big one. A lot of my German clients struggle because their tax implications are probably worse than ours, to be honest.
Yeah, and potentially stricter. I'm not an expert, but...
Yeah. So US is its own beast.
Yeah.
So that's another issue. But yeah, this is typically the biggest issue, because I'll give all the advice on how we can structure it, but ultimately they need that advice, which I can't physically give. And we try and partner up with companies like yours to close that gap, because I don't want anyone getting arrested or getting in trouble later on, ultimately. So
no, and for sure it makes sense, because actually now you think about it, you're getting clients from all over the world. And the same way that I've given my clients over to you guys to be the experts, you can't, well, maybe you could, but it wouldn't be ideal to have one person Germany, one person Italy, one person Spain, one person UK sitting within Creative Zone.
Yeah.
You've referred out to expert partners that can then give the advice, and then that's on them to deal with that side. But there definitely is possibility, guys, and there definitely is and are options for you. You don't have to keep paying this massive tax bill. And if there aren't any options, like you do with your clients, we will say there's nothing you can do. Based on your circumstances, nothing you can do. But then we go back to setting up for a plan B, setting up for external investment. Maybe you want to buy property over here, and that's a really great market. So loads to kind of talk about. If people want to get in touch with you, we've covered loads today, and get one of those kind of free consultations to start asking the questions, how can they do that?
So you can have all of my information to share. We can maybe create a landing page that will make it a bit easier as well. Okay,
let's take a picture actually, and that would be perfect on the top of the landing page. Me and you, partnership.
Cute. Yeah. You'll see us too in this.
Happy days. Yeah. Okay. All right. I could keep talking all day, but I'll wrap up. This is a high level intro. And then I think, because I'm out here every month, we should make this a regular thing. If you've got questions, you can submit those. If you're listening, I don't think it's a function to do that, but you can send either of us a message. I'll put all the details in the show notes in the description. If you're watching on YouTube, just hit me up in the comments. I'll reply to all of the questions personally. If it's something Dubai related, then I'll refer that to Shelin. I hope that gave you some clarity if Dubai's been on your radar. If you've got questions or you want to explore what setting up might look like for your business or for you individually, you can reach out to Shelin directly, as we spoke about. Just to reconfirm, all of her details will be in the show notes, and then also I'll put all of our details as well. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow Founder Stories. We've got more episodes coming soon, diving deeper into Dubai, tax strategy, growing internationally without burning out. Specifically, the next episode I would definitely tune into. We're going to go through a lot more on accounting and tax, not just local requirements, but what you can do from a UK perspective, so you can get that information if you're not quite ready to go and book a call. Thanks for your time. I've been Simon Kallu, your host on Founder Stories. Thank you, Shelin, for coming down. Well, not coming down, I've come to see you, but thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, see you soon, guys.